بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة لوجه الكريم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. We welcome all of you to another session of the Black Imams Roundtable. Tonight, we are a duo. Imam Genius, Imam Naeem Abdullah, and this lowly servant, Imam Amin Muhammad. Absent today in body, in form, but always present in heart and spirit is our Imam, the Imam of the Boombat, Faheem Lee. May Allah give him safety in his travels and comfort him and return him back to the Black Imam Roundtable safe and sound and energized and enthusiastic for next week. But in the meanwhile, the show must go on. One boom bap don't stop no show. So, as we normally do every week, remind each other, because we are the 3453 family, and we take care of each other and make sure we can continue our work. So we remind everyone to generously support our endeavors by our weekly contribution to this work. And it's beneficial that we keep in mind we're sustaining a movement that has benefited many, many, many people. And they continue to benefit weekly and monthly and yearly because of your generous contributions to the work of the Black Imams Roundtable. So let us take care of that so we don't have to mention it every week. And I would like that we're there, like we just don't even have to mention that at all. It's just on autopilot. We just do it, right? Because what we request is not all that it takes to do the work we want to do. And we have a lot of things we want to do. And so it does take the financial aspect of it. So let us take care of that, inshallah. Tonight, we're going to have advices from the Imams, because in a way, this is the Imams' priorities that they want to get across, that sometimes when we have topics, you don't get to say all you want to say. So since we didn't have a specific topic for this week, I wanted to take this week to give advices that I think are extremely important, that it seems that I never have enough time to get all mine out, right? So I'm going to take tonight to get it out. And as the Imam Genius always say, he don't have nothing until he start talking, then he take up all the time. Y'all know how that go, right? So in my opening, to me, the most important advice that I would like us in the 3453 Shehu family, all of us who attend daily, attend the gatherings, whether it's the Black Imams Roundtable, whether it is the post-Fajr reflection barbecue that we had, whether it is the African American Islamic Summit, the different courses we have on the ground around the country, all those who attended all these different things we do, I want us to begin to increase the level of seriousness and commitment to acquiring the knowledge of the religion. I mean, to me, if I can advise us with one of the most important things I have in my mind and my heart for us, it would be that. Whatever level you at in acquiring the knowledge, step that up a little bit in terms of seriousness, dedication, and commitment to learning. Like every day, make a stronger effort to increase your comprehension and understanding of the knowledge. And we're going to talk about how to go about that. I want to advise you on ways to do it. Because sometimes we are not maximizing our abilities, right? So I want to talk to us about how to maximize our abilities. One of the advices in that is don't deem yourself incapable. And don't be shy or intimidated because you're not at the level of proficiency, right? Don't be shy or intimidated because you're not at the level of proficiency. No matter how much you learn, how much you acquire, you're always going to feel like you don't know enough, because you don't. There's more to know. And no matter how much you know, you don't know even a tenth of what's to be known, because knowledge has levels, right? So don't be intimidated, right? A lot of us, we don't bring out our best because we're shy in front of others, or we don't want to seem like we're deficient. We're all deficient. That's fine. Even the smart one, if you examine him enough, you see how many deficiencies he has. We all have deficiencies. Don't worry about that. What is important is that you keep striving, right? You keep working, right? And that's important in terms of acquiring knowledge. It is in stages. It's in stages, right? Trust me, I don't even listen to myself. You might not know that. I don't listen to myself because I catch all my mistakes. And I'll be like, man, did you just do that? Did you say that? Did you do that? So I don't even listen to myself. I just, after I do a recording, I do a class, that's it. I don't listen no more. For me, I just keep working to get better and better, but I never listen to myself. Because if I listen to myself, I probably would be discouraged from going forward, worrying about what somebody gonna think about my mistakes. So I don't listen to myself. I don't even hear my mistakes. I don't even hear my mistakes. I don't listen. I just keep working. if someone brings my mistakes to me, then I'll correct them. But other than that, I don't pay them attention. I just keep working. And inshallah, if you keep working, you're going to correct those mistakes. So long as you keep learning, you keep striving, you keep doing what you have to do, right? Eventually, you won't make the same mistake. Now, you notice I said you got to keep learning, right? You can't stop learning. So if you're learning, you'll catch your mistake eventually. So that's my encouragement for you, because we have a lot of work to do and we don't have enough people to convey the knowledge. It's not enough of us. And I'm talking about people who understand and can convey in multiple ways at multiple levels, right? I was talking in the Masjid today with some young Pakistani kids, a group of them. I was giving them a lesson. And I was reading from Arabic and then translating in English. And they was in Lululand, right? I said, oh, you got to figure another way to do this. This is not going to hold their attention. They was trying, but it was a little bit above their heads. So as I was translating, I started to add my own expressions. And I saw that they started paying attention. When I was just reading and translating, it was very difficult for them to follow. When I started adding my own wording and my own explanation within it, they was right on it and they lit up. I said, so I'm conveying the same thing, but they need it in a language they understood. Just flat translation wasn't good enough for them, right? And also, because reading in Arabic, they didn't understand most of it, so it was boring. So I should have left the Arabic and all together and just translated and just formulated and talked. It would have been much better for them, right? So the knowledge has to be taught in many ways, right? So in order to do that, you have to have a command of the subject matter you're talking about. So that's why I said seriousness and diligence, right? So this is one advice. And that's always, as Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَقُلْ رَبِّي زِدْنِي عِلْمًا, that Allah said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and say, oh my Lord, increase me in knowledge, right? So we're still going to be learning every day. And I want you to consider it, as I mentioned to those youngsters. Listen, every day you live and you don't increase in knowledge, consider that as a day you were dead. Every day you live and you don't increase in knowledge, consider it as a day you were dead. You didn't live that day. You were dead. So every day, make sure you have a full life. And a full life is not a full life without an increase of knowledge. وَقُلْ رَبِّي زِدْنِي عِلْمًا, right? And that knowledge, first and foremost, definitely sacred knowledge of the sacred law, religious knowledge, but also worldly knowledge. You need both tracks, right? So make sure every day you learn something that's going to increase you in your dunya so that you have the means to have an easy path to the hereafter. You know, oh Allah, our Lord, give us the good in this world and the good in the hereafter. Take care of both, increasing knowledge on both levels. So that is my opening thoughts and my opening advices. I have many more, but that's my opening. And I'm going to, inshallah, give you a lot of things to think about tonight. That's one of them. Barakallahu bikum.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa afdalu salat wa atamu tasneem, ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een, wa radiyallahu ta'ala an sadat tabi'een, wa ulama al-amalin, wa a'immatul arabat al-mujtahideen, wa muqalidihim ila yawmiddin. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. I want to tailor my advice or advices that I intend to give this evening to empower us as Black Muslim individuals and Black Muslim community. We were talking earlier, and it was said that the people want some advice that's tangible, something they're going to do, they can do right now. So inshallah, my intention this evening is to give you all some advice that you can do right now. Now, it's up to you if you're actually going to do it or not. And since our beloved Imam Amin began with seeking knowledge, I'm going to continue on that. And because I already wrote it down, I wrote a few things that I wanted to mention tonight down. And many times, for example, I'm in the classes that Imam Amin is teaching. And sometimes people ask, well, who can I learn from? And where can I learn the Fard Ain? And I'm like, hello, are we looking at the same thing? He's right on the screen. This is what I'm saying to myself. And so my specific advice to all of us right now is to find a teacher and go over a basic book of fiqh in whatever school of thought that you follow. And if you don't follow a school of thought, you need to pick one. And if you're in Imam Amin's classes, be Shafi. He's your teacher. Watch you type that in big all caps. So we're only individuals. Myself, Imam Amin. So every time we teach our public free online classes, we can't do fiqh all of the time, right? So we cycle through different subjects. Right now, I'm focusing on the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his seerah. At some point, we're going to circle back around to fiqh, right? But some of you may have came on later, right? And you didn't catch when Imam Amin was teaching fiqh publicly and free on his platform. But if you go to their YouTube channel, all of the videos are there, even on Facebook, but I think YouTube is easier to navigate. Everything is there. It's a playlist, right? And I'm holding in my hand one of the books that he taught. Sulaiman Tawfiq, The Ladders to Success. But there's a specific area of knowledge that I want to speak about for the purposes of today's advice. So within seeking knowledge, so I'm giving you instructions. Learn a basic book, right? This book, if you go to the same platform you're on now, if you're on YouTube, go to the playlist, you find where he taught this book, right? I'm looking at page 34, purification in prayer. And on there, he begins to teach on awqatus salat, the times of prayer. These are one of the main conditions of the salat. So my advice to all of us under learning the individual obligations is to learn how to tell when the time of prayer comes in according to the sunnah, not according to a prayer time at or a prayer schedule. If you're Maliki, right, be Maliki. Say, well, you're not teaching fiqh right now. We taught this book, Muqtasar al-Aqdari. If you go to our playlist, you will see the playlist where we went through this book. In here, all of the basic books have the times of prayer in them. Page 35, chapter 13. Why am I saying this? Because I said that my advice today is going to be tailor-made to uplift and empower us. So that means we have to stop depending on other people for things that we shouldn't be depending on other people for anyway. These are things that every Muslim is supposed to know anyway. These are individually obligatory knowledge. That's why it's in all of the basic books. These are children's books, literally. They're in there. We all supposed to know these things. So in our class, I was given some real practical examples how not knowing these things can affect so many different areas in our lives. And I always focus on the month of Ramadan, Shahru Ramadan, because it's more acute and it's more obvious during that time. See, if you depend on Muslim Pro or like the app I use is Islamic Finder or any of the other ones, right? During the month of Ramadan, you have a major problem with two prayers, Fajr and Maghrib. If you're depending on those apps, what's the problem? Well, the problem is we live in North America. And so those apps, they depend on calculations. So you have to depend on somebody's calculation. So just by default, when your prayer time app is on, if you don't adjust anything, because you're in North America, it's going to be ISNA, Islamic Society of North America. And they have their own scholarly body called the Fiqh Council of North America. They are of the opinion, and I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible, that according to their calculations, Fajr comes in, the beginning time of Fajr is when the sun is 15 degrees below the horizon. They disagree with almost all other scholars in the world. Almost all of them who are specializing in these things say that the sun is at least 18 degrees below the horizon. So what does this mean in common language? They're saying that Fajr comes in later than everyone else does. So if it's the month of Ramadan and you're trying to delay eating your suhoor, the meal that you eat before you begin your fasting day, even if you say, okay, I'm going to eat and I'm going to stop eating 5 or 10 minutes before Fajr comes in, according to this schedule or this app that I'm using, you're still going to be eating into the time of Fajr, blowing your fast. And yesterday I did an experiment while I was in the class. I opened up the app and it said that in Pittsburgh yesterday, Fajr comes in at 4:22. And then when I adjusted it and I used another calculating body, the Egyptian authority I think I used, and changed it, their calculation is 19.5 degrees, not 15. So it made Fajr come in, according to their calculations, a whole 39 minutes earlier. And so you find that most of the people who calculate these things, they say, oh, 18 degrees, 18.5, 19 degrees. The Islamic Society of North America is way off, 15 degrees. So even if you stop eating 20 minutes before Fajr came in, you'll be eating until the time of Fajr, according to their off calculations. So the way to avoid all of that is to return back to the Sunnah and learn our basic Islam and learn how to tell when the time of prayer comes in the way we're supposed to. And these things are just a backup or just a loose reference, not something that we're depending on. What's the problem with Maghrib? The problem with Maghrib is, especially during Ramadan, is that we have the sunnah of hastening to rush to break the fast. We rush to break the fast. That's one of the rewards, one of the things we should do in fasting. But we don't realize there's a caveat to that you rush to break the fast once it's clear that Maghrib came in. Once you know it's time for Maghrib, okay, then we pray. So what's the problem? We're depending on these apps. And everybody, during Ramadan, everybody has their phone volume all the way up, right? So soon as Allahu Akbar on the phone, right? Everybody's eating. If you observe, and I've checked this myself and other people all around the country check that the time for Maghrib, when the sun actually sets, and the time that these schedules in these apps say is usually about at least 6 minutes too early, at least, sometimes like 8 minutes. So you didn't fast 15, 16, 17 hours. And you don't know how to tell when the time of prayer comes in. And your app goes off. And so it's Ramadan. So I'm going to hasten to break the fast. It's Sunnah. I want to break the fast, eat some dates and water. I want to pray. And then I want to eat my meal. So if you eat as soon as the dawn is called on your app, if you live in North America, 9 times out of 10, the sun is still up. And I always go back to Abdul Rahim, our brother from Wichita, Kansas, out in the cornfield, what he experienced. He was in a masjid, and they called the adhan, and he happened to be by a window. He's in a masjid with everyone else, and he looked out the window and saw the sun. He's with everybody else, and he's seeing the sun. He's looking at the sun. Maghrib is when the sun disappears completely. He's looking at the sun. They're calling the adhan and passing out the dates and water, eating. He says, whoa, Maghrib is not in yet. Look, they didn't pay him no mind. Allahumma sumtu ala bismillah. Right? They're eating, right? That's what they're doing. That's how disconnected we are from our tradition. And most of us don't even realize that to tell when the time of prayer comes in and comes out goes out is something that most of us, have no clue about. Most of us don't even know. We never heard the terms Mukhtar and Daruri. Most of us never even heard that. How many of y'all ever heard those terms before and what they refer to? I just wanted to know. Mukhtar, or sometimes they say ikhtiyar and Daruri. How many of you have ever heard those terms before? Please answer, say yes or no if you heard those terms before. Hydra Stacy says nope. Dorahim says yes. Nadam says no. You heard it before, Nadam. You just don't remember. Khadijah says nope. Fatima says nope. Mariam, nope. Bilal, yes. Imad, yes. All of the prayer times are divided into two parts. One part is the time that you should make it the optimum time, called Mukhtar, and the other time, whereas if you don't have an excuse to be delaying it and you delay it into that time, even though it's in, the prayer still in, it's like the Daruri time, it's the necessary time. You have to make it. You're sinful for delaying it into that time. So every prayer time has those two divisions in them. And so that's my first advice. To learn learn a basic book of fiqh with teachers, but I wanted to emphasize that because our salat depends on it, and so many other things depend on it, and all of our basic books have this information in it. And so, like Imam Amin, I know he does classes that are not only in the morning, maybe more private. I don't know. Reach out to him. I do the same thing. But even if you're ready to start right now and you can't do a private class, go back to the playlist and watch those videos on the playlist so you can get the information, inshallah. So that's my advice. That's something you can practice right now, and you need to do it anyway because it's part of your individual obligations, but it's also liberating. You don't have to depend on no one else to tell you when the time of prayer comes in. Alhamdulillah.
And to follow up, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, among the best of the servants of Allah are those who observe the sun, the moon, the stars, in another narration, the shadows, for the remembrance of Allah. So this is something that is in every book of fiqh. Learning those essential matters for the validity of your acts of worship. So if we want to say it in another way, at minimum, you should learn for every act of worship, especially in the school of Shafi'i, and they are similar in other schools. The terms may be more extensive or less, depending, but all of these are the same across the board. You need to learn the conditions, الشروط, الأركان, the integrals, and المبتلات, invalidators. For every act of worship, you should know these matters. At minimum, the conditions for the validity of that act. In other words, those things that must be fulfilled before that act can begin in a valid manner. Right? So for the prayer, for a tahara, for purification, even as zakat, as saum, al hajj, and nikah, marriage, al muamalat, business dealings, for all those matters, what are the conditions for the validity of the act I'm going into? Then, in addition to that, al arkan, what are the integrals? What are the obligatory parts of that act of worship that are actually a part of the act of worship that must be maintained in order for the act to remain valid? So they're a part of it, the arkan. And these are performance. So you perform the shurut, you fulfill them, you fulfill the arkan, the integrals, the conditions and integrals. And what are al-mubtilat? What are the things that invalidate the act of worship? Every single one of us must know these things. And to know them from the route of qualified scholarship, which is only in the 4 schools of jurisprudence among Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, which are the Hanafi school, the Maliki school, the Shafi'i school, and the Hanbali school. And there is no other way for us to ensure that our acts of worship are being performed in a valid manner without following one of those schools. And that is something that we have to stand firm upon. I say to you all, as an advice, do not be shy to declare that you are Sunni Muslim, and do that by actually following the valid, authentic, traditional, classical methodology of Islam, which is by following al-madhahib, those trustworthy legal schools of jurisprudence. It is extremely important. The reason why many of us don't know these things is because we don't follow madhabs. And we got that from the default misguidance in the religion that has been conveyed in our community so widespread. Right? So seriously, be Sunni. You know, we said be Shafi'i, be Maliki. No, be Sunni, and that covers all of that, right? So if I want to say be something, be Sunni, period. And to be Sunni, there is a methodology of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. There is a methodology. It's not vague and you can just be all over the place. No, there is a methodology. There is a way that you must practice, and it's well laid out, defined, systematic, structured, organized for over 1,200 years from the codification of the schools of jurisprudence. And it's been practiced by tens of millions of people throughout history. Each school with the top ranking scholars in every school. So this is not something that's like vague, strange. No, it's the norm. Unfortunately, It's not been the norm for us. And we have to change that narrative. But the only way we can change that narrative is that we're actually Sunni, right? We're actually following the methodology of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. I'm not talking about, and I should clarify this, I'm not talking about you as a practicing individual, how well you practice the religion. I don't mean it like that. I mean it at the heart and knowledge level. At the heart and knowledge level. In terms of, you'll know the right way to practice this deen. And you believe at the heart level that this is the correct methodology. And even as you work to yourself to comply with those rules, you know and realize that these are the rules. That's what I'm talking about at that level. That is a very important advice for me to give you. Because there are those forces that tell us don't follow the way of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. In fact, they renamed Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah to something that is not accepted according to no madhab. And they call it Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. They call it Sunni. And it's not Sunni at all. Right? So for us, it is extremely important that a group of us learn these matters well and convey it to others. So when Imam Naim is talking about learn a book, that's at the beginning level, at the intermediate level, at the advanced level, and at the scholarly level. And I want you to write these levels. When we learn every book in every school, whether it is in Creed, Al-Aqidah, or Al-Fiqh, or even spirituality, At-Tasawwuf, Sufism, and I want you to correct something. I'll come back to that. Every book is going to be learned at 3 basic levels, and then hopefully we strive to a 4th level. The first level is going to be a beginner's level. Every madhab in those sciences have beginner level books. They're called summarized books, mukhtasarat, right? These summarized books. Then you're going to have intermediate level books. So all these books that we mentioned were at the first level. Summarized books. You're going to learn that summarized book, which is going to give you the basic information that you need to know. The conditions, the integrals, the invalidators. Then you're going to learn that with your teacher. Then you're going to move to intermediate books that are going to have more details. And then you're going to learn advanced books. And then, if Allah gives us success, some of us, not all of us, should learn the scholarly books. And we need to prepare ourselves for all these levels, right? And that must be the norm in our communities, in our masajid, in our gatherings, right? That must be the norm. So no longer when we go, we don't have access to learn. We need to keep working to every place we are at, learning is accessible, right? So we should look at ourselves in an analogous fashion. We're in the Frederick Douglass time of education. We're in the Frederick Douglass time of education, right? where they are beginning to establish black schools, that advanced education is becoming normalized within our communities. And there are some people who's pioneering that effort. That's what we need to do, right? We shouldn't be around people who don't know the religion. Not because they don't want to know, because it's not available. No, that has to become the norm. So who's going to do that? Look in the mirror. That's the one who's going to do that. Who's going to do that? The one in the mirror. So I'm starting with the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror. And I'm asking me and I'm asking you to change your ways. Let's start learning and memorizing and conveying. My Michael Jackson plug, right? No, it's very important. Let's start winning. And these are the recipes to win, right? So in every school, we need to learn the books that we have to learn with our teachers. And let me say another thing. We have everything we need. We have to believe in ourselves. What do I mean? We have teachers. The problem is sometimes the color of the teacher ain't right for us, so we don't want to learn from them. It's not official unless the tone of the skin is right. And we have to stop that. Sometimes we will settle for an inferior education just because the tone of the skin color. I'm talking about us. This is a disease. Like, I want to go learn from, they ain't even going to teach you the way he's teaching you. But I know he's a little dark, right? You don't want to learn from him. We have to fix that. Seriously. That's why we intentionally say Black Imams Roundtable. Someone said to me, if we learn from each other, will it be accepted? And I was scratching my head. I said, what? What'd you say? No, if we learn from, like, if we get it from y'all, is it accepted? Wow, that's deep. Some of us think like that, even if we don't mean it. It can't be legitimate coming from you. You guys, but you remember that Eddie Murphy movie? But you're black. We have this mentality. So for us, we have to begin to overcome that so we can do the work. Because a lot of times we won't do the work because we won't allow ourselves to do the work. Right? He can't have no knowledge. He's black. We don't say it. It's a mental thing. Right? So the knowledge is the knowledge. Right? And I don't think it's a negative thing. Listen, a lot of us have this thinking and don't realize it. We just don't say it. But we like that too. Go look at your playlist. You'll see. Go look at your playlist. You'll see what I'm talking about. Go look at your favorites of who you listening to. You'll see what I'm talking about. Right? And that's important. Because we have to do that work. So I want you to make a deliberate effort. I'm going to sit with a teacher from my own people deliberately to get that knowledge I need. And I'm going to exhaust my teachers first before I go somewhere else. I'm going to exhaust my teachers from my own people before I go somewhere else. You follow what I mean? I'm going to, listen, whatever I got to get, I'm going to get from my own people first. I'm going to exhaust that, and whatever they have, I'm going to go get it, and then I'm going to bring it back so they have it. This is a deliberate way of redirecting our focus. That's an advice. And everyone does it. They learn from their home, their people first, and then they go out. When I was studying in Egypt, everybody who came there from a different place already had the knowledge of the religion. A lot of them was just coming to get the certificate. They already learned what they had to learn in their home countries. They wasn't really coming to learn from the Egyptians. They were coming to get a shahada, a degree, stuff like that. The knowledge they already had at home. We need to do the same thing. I'm reading a book right now from an African scholar. And honestly, I've read too many books on this subject. I've never seen someone write like this. I was like, wow. Like, blown away. And I've been reading for decades in the subject. I've never seen no one put something together like that. Right? So we must give ourselves the opportunity to grow. And I'm not saying don't learn from no one else. That's not what I said. I said exhaust your own and then go. Or whatever your own don't have, go get it and bring it back. Right? That's how we have to start. We have to remain a village in the learning process. That's an advice. Remain a village and a family in the learning process. We go learn, we bring it back, we build, we produce our own. Right? This is very important. It happened to me today, honestly. I was teaching class to a bunch of kids, teenagers, young adults. They couldn't believe that I was actually doing what I was doing. They were shocked. And I'm like, what the heck is so shocking? In their mind is like, how did you get that? You can see it in the faces. How did you do that? Because they don't expect. And sometimes we don't expect. Let's change that. Now, go ahead. That was my thought on that.
Sometimes hatred will blind you to something. You know, while you was talking, I was thinking Like yesterday in our class, the Sirah portion, we covered the part when Jamil, the wife of Abu Lahab, came to do some harm to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was sitting right there with Abu Bakr Siddiq. And then when she came, right, she's asking Abu Bakr, "Where your man's at? Where he at?" You know, because Allah had just revealed Tabat Yada Abi Lahabin with that, right? And so she's covered to do so to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's sitting right there with Abu Bakr, right? She comes and asks Abu Bakr where he at, but he's sitting right there. But Allah blinded her from seeing him because she had something she wanted to hit him in the mouth with it, whatever. Allah blinded her from seeing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's sitting right next to Abu Bakr, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and she can't see him. And I was thinking about that in the context of what you just said. We have self-hatred. So we'll have a benefit right in front of us and we're blinded to it. Like I'm literally like I'm in front of my computer, right? And it happened to you many times, right? Like I just said earlier. You're online teaching. Someone's looking at the screen. You just said, you need to find teachers, trustworthy teachers with trustworthy books. They're looking at you on the screen and they're texting, Imam, Amin, question, where can I find a teacher? They're looking right at you. But the self-hatred is there. They can't see you. Subconsciously, it's like it's somebody else. You can't be talking about yourself. You black. You don't know nothing, right? You got to be from someone else, right? And so sometimes, like the self-hatred, it blinds us from even seeing what we have around us. It's so bad, even like most people who are non-Arabs, they learn Arabic in their country where they're from, even though it's a non-Arabic speaking country. So when they go to places like Egypt, like you said, they got the Arabic, they even got the subject matter. They just going, like he said, for the certificate or whatever. Now, look at us. We're sitting around each other, refusing to learn from each other. Won't even learn Aleph, Bad, Ta from each other. Then go to that place thinking I'm going to learn something. Then they say, okay, you got to go to the Mahad first, right? Because you need to learn Aleph, Bad, Ta first. You need to go to the elementary school level to get the Arabic language first. When you could have got that sitting right here in America. You could have got that. Learn how to read and write Arabic. We go over there completely unequipped. Why? Because we think we don't have anything to offer each other. We can't learn that. You could have learned that for free, sitting right in the Masjid, Arabic, right? And like Tahira just said, it's not only self-hatred, it's envy, right? Like, I'm nothing. How dare he try to be something? He ain't nobody, right? Another thing, I think a good comedian, they're masters of psychology. They understand our psychology. I always use the example. Imam, you ever heard of Robin Harris?
No cussing.
Robin Harris is a comedian that died when he was coming up. Eddie Murphy, I put him in that classic movie, Harlem Nights. But he had a stand-up act. And I think he got most famous for the end of this particular stand-up routine that Abdul Rahim just put in the comments. Bebe's Kids. He used to wrap up his routine with this story about a girl named Bebe and her wild crazy behind kids, right? In that same routine, he had a joke like about racism. He had a joke about racism. Then he had a part about how a lot of times we lazy. And he said that sometimes black folks will be sitting around in the house smoking weed all day, thinking the job is going to come to them. Who is it? Job. Ah, man, come on in, man. I've been waiting for you. Come on in, man. That's how we be with this stuff we talk about seeking knowledge, right? There's nothing we can do. But come on, man, who do I get knowledge from? How do I do this? How do I do that? Who is it? Guidance. Oh, man, alhamdulillah, I've been waiting for you, man. I got 2 shahid without the jahid. Allahu Akbar. I didn't have to do jahid, 2 shahid. I got the 2 shahid without the jahid. Allahu Akbar. That's us. We don't want to put in any work, and we just wondering why our situation is the way it is. Because we have this entitlement. Like it's supposed to come to me. I'm not supposed to get up and go to it. Right? And I got my little list here. I don't think I'm going to cover all of it. But I think something is extremely important for my next piece of advice. I think before I give the advice, let me ask you all a question. What is halal meat to you? When someone says halal meat, what is that? Halal meat. Halal meat. What is that? What meat is halal? What is halal meat? Food we can eat. Read Jackie's comment. I'm looking at your answers. I need some of y'all to be honest and comment. There was a time when I didn't know what halal meat was. A lot of us don't know what halal meat is. And maybe some people are ashamed they won't answer. So I'm going to speak for them. There are some of us who believe or think that any meat other than pork is halal. Like if the meat didn't come from a pig, then it's halal. Some of us think that. Maybe nobody typed that there, but I know there's people who believe that. So you got some Muslims who believe that if the meat is not pork or, from the pig, then it's permissible to eat. There was a time when I thought that if it wasn't pork and it wasn't red meat, then it was halal. So I thought any chicken, any turkey, and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was halal. There's some people who believe that because we live in this country, and they say Christian country, this is not a Christian country, by the way. It never has been. But they say that this is a Christian country. So any meat other than pork that you eat here is also halal. Then you have people who believe that as long as the meat is not pork, when you get it, you can just say Bismillah over it and eat it. Like you got the meat on your plate and you say Bismillah, and then, okay, now it's halal, I can eat it. I'm trying to show you that in our Muslim community, our understanding of what halal meat is and isn't is all over the place. Our understanding of what halal meat is all over the place. So, to keep it simple, Halal meat must fulfill three general requirements or conditions. It must be slaughtered by someone whose meat we are allowed to eat, Muslim, Christian, or Jew. The one doing the slaughtering must be Muslim, Christian, or Jew. Condition number one. Condition number two. The name of Allah has to be mentioned while you're doing the slaughtering. Condition number three. You actually have to do the slaughtering, the dhahba, the cutting of the blood and the air vessels. That's what makes an animal, assuming the animal is permissible to eat. Like if you do that to a pig, it don't count, right? I think that should be obvious. Then that animal is halal. Add to the handful of examples of confusion with halal meat. Now we have another confusion added to the mix. Shrewd marketing and unethical Muslims have us thinking that halal and zabiha are two separate categories. So we'll go into a butcher shop or some place that's selling food that has meat in it, and we'll say, is it halal? And they'll say yes. Then we'll say, well, is it zabiha? As if some meat can be halal without it being zabiha. They say with a Z, with a thal, right? If that animal is not, as they say with the Z, zabiha, right? Then it's not halal. They have us thinking that halal is just any old kind of meat, right? Christian country, just Christian people slaughtered it. And they'll say halal, many of these businesses. And then they say zabiha, oh, that's the Muslim that killed it. No. If the Christian or the Jew bust the animal upside his head or killed the animal in some other prohibited fashion, especially the ones that's explicitly mentioned in the Quran, right? Then it doesn't matter that a Jew or a Christian killed it. It's not permissible. And a lot of us have not understood that. And so we're not even talking about the people who don't care. They don't concern themselves with eating halal. They don't care. We're not even talking about those. We're talking about us who are trying to eat halal. Many of us are not eating halal because we don't understand what halal is. And I see some of the comments going up about other things that are mentioned. I just mentioned the base primary things, right? So my advice, my second advice that I'm giving today is that we learn what halal is, and then we purify our diets, our refrigerators, our freezers, and our cabinets of everything that is not halal. Because eating haram can and will affect your worship. It will affect your prayers being answered. And it has so many other negative or adverse effects. And just to read, just to throw back to the 40 hadith. Abu Huraira reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah is good or pure, and he only accepts that which is good or pure. Allah gave the same command to the believers as to the messengers in saying, exalted is he O messengers, eat of the good things and act righteously. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is quoting Surah 23, verse 51. And then he also said, he exalted as he, O you who believe, eat of the good things we have provided you. This is Surah Baqarah 172. So in this hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us that Allah is tayyib, Allah is pure, and he only accepts that which is tayyib, only accepts that which is pure. And then he's telling us that Allah commanded the believers the same way he commanded the prophets and messengers. In other words, they have the same dietary standards, right? Then he mentioned 2 verses, right? And then he continued. Then he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, described a man on a long journey, disheveled and dusty, who raises his hands to the sky, saying, my Lord, yet his food is haram, unlawful. His drink is haram. His clothing is haram. And he is nourished with the haram. How then could his prayer be answered? And this is 40 hadith, Imam Nawawi's 40 hadith, number 10. And this is actually coming from Sahih Muslim. And so, and a beautiful thing about the ayahs that's mentioned, it says, eat that which is good and do righteous action. So in the verse that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam quoted, there's a connection between what we eat and what we do. And a lot of times we find that what we're not doing right because we're not eating right. And I know for people that meat is addictive. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala, and he said it. It's recorded in the Muwatta. Iyakum wallahm فإنه ضراوة كضرارة الخمر. Beware of meat because it has the addiction like the addiction of khamr. This is a statement of Umar ibn al-Khattab. Iyakum wallahm, beware of meat because it has in it darara. It has in it an addiction. It's addictive. We're talking about halal meat, just meat in general. It's addictive, like the addiction of khamr. So we have to beware. Part of the secret, this is why a lot of us are able to achieve so many great things during the month of Ramadan, because we're not eating that much. And if we eat haram, we're not eating as much of it, as much of it as we would be doing. Because the key is staying away from the haram. We have to protect our stomachs from the haram. And then when we are diligent and meticulous about keeping the haram, the unlawful, out of our diets, then we have to move on to what is doubtful, the shubuhat. And it's amazing. The next hadith in here is about staying away from the doubtful. Hadith number 11, da' ma yaribuka illa ma la yaribuka. Stay away from what gives you doubt for what doesn't give you doubt. A lot of times our food is doubtful. And I don't want to get too technical. I was just being real general. But like even when it comes to food, you got to worry about cross-contamination. You know, you got to worry about your food becoming najis because it comes in contact with something else that's najis. But that's a whole nother subject. So my advice to all of us, if we didn't think it was a serious matter before, we need to get out all of the haram out of our diets and only consume that which is halal. That's something you can do right now. You start with the obvious stuff, the meat, right? Make sure all of your meat has been slaughtered properly. And then after that, you move to your processed foods, and you have to start looking at ingredients and stuff and make sure no haram byproducts are in your food, your processed food and stuff like that. And so that's my advice to us. It's going to have a ripple effect on every other aspect of your life. Your salat, your dua, your trying to get away from other sins is going to affect all of that. So, get the haram out of your life. That's my second advice to you. Alhamdulillah.
Just as a note, this is not Darul Fatwa 3453 Black Imams Roundtable. We do not believe in microwave Islam, which means all those questions, what about this? What about that? What about this? This halal, that halal, that halal. What we suggested you in the beginning earlier, you need to sit with a teacher and read a book of fiqh. Not pick what you like through the religion and get answers for that. No, sit and go through a book in one stage, sit down, learn, go to the next level, learn, go to the next level, learn. We cannot avoid the learning process, right? So y'all follow that point? Did everyone hear me with that? That means you need to follow a madhab, sit with a teacher, go through a book, and all of those things will be covered while you're learning the book. In the process, when you don't know, don't do it. Leave it off until you learn. A lot of my teachers, when we would do that, they were like, "What book did you finish?" "Nothing." "Okay, go finish your book." Your question is in the book. Go learn. Right? Let me ask you, how many of you, let's take a poll, how many of you have learned a complete book according to a madhab, a reliable book with a living teacher from cover to cover, that you understood well? All right, I'm gonna repeat that. Just say me. Have covered a complete book in a madhab, cover to cover, with a teacher that you understood. I'm not putting y'all on blast. Let's follow what we're talking about. See how honest some people are? I learned, but I didn't understand well. Let me say, me. I've done several books and I still don't understand. I need to review. That make you feel better? I've done several books. I still don't understand and I need to review. Right? I've done several books. I still don't understand and I need to review. Right? So, what I would like us to do, right, to help us with that, is we don't want to answer questions no more like that. Whatever question we answer, here's the book, and this is the section where it's at. And there's your answer. No more microwave stuff. If we don't know where that answer is in the reliable books of fiqh, don't answer. Say we need to go review. So when you ask, don't accept, just answer. When someone says, okay, this is the answer, which madhab, which book? Get in that habit. If they can't answer, take that as a I don't know and we need to go review. This way we're going to force us to study. Someone says, like I do it all the time. Someone says, that's in the Shafi'i school. Which book? What you mean? You just was so definitive, said that's the Shafi'i school. Which book? Where can I find that answer? I didn't ask you for a hadith. I didn't ask you for a verse. This is simple fiqh. What book where that can be found? You don't know? Okay, you might not be sure. You might have made a mistake. Let's go check. Let's go review together for you and for me. Right? We'll help each other like that. That's not putting us on blast. That's making sure we're accurate. You follow what I mean? We want to get into the process of actually having traditional learning as a norm in our communities. We'll take out the guesswork. We'll take out the, the misinformation by being, right, strict in that issue. And we should all be happy. If I can't tell you where it is, then I should go search and research and review. I might have forgot. I may have made a mistake. I may have misunderstood. It will help us. Do y'all follow what I'm saying? I'm thinking long term, right? I'm thinking long term in that. Because what I've found to be the case, oftentimes we're saying we're following a madhab and it's not a madhab at all. You're still doing Quran and Sunnah and reading all kinds of books that have nothing to do with the madhab, and you putting it on the madhab because that's what you're claiming. Don't do that. No. You actually know where it is in the madhab. The books are organized well, so it's not really hard. If you're really studying the madhab and you're studying the books of fiqh, this is not a hard thing to do. Now, if there is a fatwa, then there's books of fatawa in the madhab. So you want to mention those books of fatawa. But the basic masail al-fiqhiyya is in the school, in every book. It's not hard. In the books of commentary, whether at the beginning level, at the intermediate level, at the advanced level, or at the scholarly level, the books are available. I'm saying that so that we stop being la madhabis in the name of a madhab. Imam Naeem, have you seen this exist a lot?
A whole lot. I think it exists more than people who say they follow a method that actually following the method.
That's what I mean.
In our context, in America.
It's the la madhabi in the name of a madhab. You don't follow a madhab. You just say a name. You actually didn't study the madhab, right? So please, this is an advice for me to you. Actually, we're going to actually study books of a madhab. If I'm saying I'm Shafi'i, we're going to follow the Shafi'i curriculum. And we're going to have our resources within the Shafi'i school. If I'm Maliki, I'm going to be Maliki within the Maliki curriculum in the Maliki school. And like with the other madhahib, like when I say I'm Ash'ari, we're going to learn. When I say I'm Maturidi, all of these matters, they're structured and organized. Let's do it right. That's an advice for me. Let's do it right. And it's going to take time. That's why I said we can't be intimidated. We can't be too shy. We can't be afraid to make mistakes, right? No, let's learn properly. And if we don't have something, we're going to bring the teachers in to teach us what we don't have. Then we're going to learn it. We're going to learn it well. We're going to review. We're going to check each other. And then we're going to teach it to the rest. We're never going to stop. The process must go on, right? We need to be free. And in order to be free, we have to be educated. If you're not educated, you will never be free. You will always be a colonized people. You must be educated. So, right? Wait a minute. Now, let me start no trouble. Behave yourself, Amin Muhammad. Don't be bad. You know I'll be ready to start, right? So let's take a few questions. No, we need to be Sunni Muslims, seriously. We need to be Sunnis. That's very important. All right, we're going to take some questions. If you have questions, put them up. The first question, boom. Imam Naeem, there you go.
Assalamu alaikum, 3453 family and Imams. My question is, do one of the Imams think we have a mental health problem and it may affect the way we think? I personally think, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I personally think that any one of us black folks in America who are halfway sane, they're a living miracle. I'm not even saying that to be funny. Any black folks that are halfway sane is a living miracle. I mean, think about what we have gone through, not just 10, 20 years, 300, some almost 400 years of chattel slavery, Jim Crow, forced illiteracy, just we can go on and on and on. Redlining, genetic engineering, genocide. I mean, consistently. And for us to be still here and able to put words together in a coherent fashion and halfway think something, that is a miracle. Any other people that you can think of that went through half of what we went through for a quarter of as long as we went through it, they don't exist anymore. Anybody who went through what we went through literally don't exist anymore. They've been wiped out. They're not here. So I think that if anybody don't have a mental issue, Allah's protecting them. They're like a walking miracle. So I do think mental health is definitely an issue in our community. And I think part of the problem, even I don't know if you would classify it as mental, but we don't even really acknowledge the fact that we're still living under the people who conquered us. It's like it's still going on. It's never stopped. We still living under them. It ain't like, okay, we back on the land. We're back on the land they stole us from. And no, we're still here and the process is still going on. We just don't want to admit it. And post-traumatic slave syndrome, that's not from Mendez. That's from, what's her name? What's her name? Samira, help me out. I forgot her name. I don't know if you got any answer to that, but that's my answer to that.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Joy DeGroot, that's what it's from. Yes. Shukran Khalil. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, you internet sheikh. Please share with me who is teaching like you in the DMV.
He said internet sheikh. He's talking to you.
He ain't talking to me. I ain't a sheikh. I'm black.
I ain't a sheikh either. And my internet be shaky.
There are people in the DMV who are teaching, though like us, you asking for a lot, bro. I'm not saying they don't exist. I don't know them. There are people teaching like we teach. You asked for a whole lot, bro. Right? You asking for a whole lot. We will be in DC the first week of August. We will be in DC, inshallah, The first weekend of August. When is that? So August 4th and 5th. Right?
Here we go.
Well, yeah. That's what I tell people. Don't know. They don't listen. Don't pay no attention to that stuff. August 4th and 5th, we will be in DC. So let's meet. If there are people teaching like us, let's meet.
We will?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Nah, man.
The Black Imams Roundtable live.
See, y'all cutting me out, man. See? Nah, you doing a side gig.
No, it's Black Imams Roundtable. You don't follow instructions.
The first week in August?
Right. The brother, we established it. See, that's what I'm talking about. Not taking notes, not paying attention, just sitting in the class, right? This is these dudes. We established that date in Pittsburgh at the Arbaeen and Nawawiyah stuff. That's what I'm talking about. See, this guy.
I was there?
Yeah, no, you weren't there. Your body was. I know your mind was on the other side of town. I don't know where you was at.
Maybe
right?
I was out the room or something.
No, you weren't outside the room. We agree. Now I'm just messing with you. We established it in Pittsburgh. That's where we established the date.
Subhanallah. So you said the 4th and the 5th?
Yes. And they even, now I just got the flyer. They got to have some corrections. See? There's a flyer right there, my brother. It got your picture on it.
Subhanallah. I didn't even see that.
Right there. Look at that. See? Black Imams Roundtable. Washington, D.C. Right there.
So the Black Imam's going to be near the White House?
No, they got those Negroes way away from the White House. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. Please forgive me for using the N-word. So yeah, let's meet. So we can find out, to your question, the DC question. I know teachers in the DMV, but can I be honest? Can I be honest with y'all? Can y'all take honest, real hardcore honesty? Can y'all handle it? Or just tell me no? If I be real honest.
They can handle it until you say it.
What I'm going to say going to be harsh. So if you can't handle it, just say, Imam, keep that to yourself. But I can be honest with you. Look at something
just honest, not real honest.
Because we love Mr. Charlie so much and Mr. Charlie's cousins, they have taken over Islam and they give it to us in a way that doesn't fit us. That's the nicest way I can say what I'm saying. And you should understand what I'm saying. Because we love Mr. Charlie so much and Mr. Charlie's cousins, they've taken over Islam and give us Islamic knowledge in a way that doesn't fit us. Is that good enough? Is that fair? Is it understood what I'm saying by saying that?
Nah, I don't comprehend. Can you make it plain?
So a person may say the same thing I'm saying, or Imam Naeem saying, or Imam Faheem is saying, but it ain't gonna sound the same. It's going to be sanitized. And it may be so sanitized that you don't even recognize it. Let me give you an example. Y'all ready for example? You got people who graduated from Al-Azhar, but when they talk, you don't even know it's Azhar. They graduated from Al-Azhar. When they talk, you don't even recognize Al-Azhar. Do you follow my point? So he graduated from Al-Azhar, but he's not Azhari. He graduated from Al-Azhar, but he's not Azhari. Now y'all got it? He has a certificate, but he didn't graduate from that school. He graduated, but he ain't graduate. I don't know
what. He got
what
the certificate and the hat.
And the hat and the clothes. But he's not Azhari at all. Not one bit. I will tell you a story. One time, we met one of those Azharis who are not Azhari, right? So me and Sheikh Samuel were sitting together, right? And so me and Sheikh are sitting together, and we're sitting, and all of them around this Azhari, no Azhari guy. And he's talking, and Sheikh Samuel is funny. He looks at me, he goes like this. I said, yeah, I got you, Sheikh. He was saying Azhar, not to Azhar. He went Azhar, not to Azhar. So when I'm answering that question, we have maybe people who got the knowledge, but when they convey it, you may not recognize it. So I don't say they don't exist. They do exist, but they need to be pushed. So they need to be around people who are not going to let them do that, right? And you'll see when they're around us, they get very, very uncomfortable, right? Because we ain't going for it, right? They can't do the Rodney King thing around us. It's not going to work. So unfortunately, I can't answer that for you directly. They do exist, but we have to let them get a little dirty. They're too sanitized, so we don't know. We have to dirty them up, throw them in
Let them get a little dirty.
Face, kick them. Come on, rough it up. You know, then when they come back and their hat is tilted to the side, you'll be like, yeah, that's right, I needed that. If you get my point. I mean, that's my answer. I tried to answer it being nice. I hope I was nice enough. I was trying to be nice. What about studying a book cover to cover without a teacher? That's not studying a book. That's not studying a book. Books don't talk. Teachers do. I'm not saying don't read, but you have to sit with a teacher because books don't talk. Books have technical terminology that you're only going to know by sitting with a living teacher. Books do not talk. Even if the book is right, that doesn't mean you understood it right. The book's not going to say, hey, you misunderstood me. The book is not going to say that. The book's not going to say, hey, there's more conditions. There's more details to this. This is an exception to this rule. Books are not going to do that. Only living teachers can do that. You need a living teacher. So you read for familiarity. Man, I messed that word up. Come on, genius, help me out. That's
Try it again. Try it again so we get a good laugh.
Familiarity. Right?
one more again. Familiarity.
Yeah, you got to be familiar with it. You know what I'm talking about. That joint's a tongue twister for me. So you read books to become familiar with the material, but you actually have to sit with a teacher. There is no dispensing of a teacher. If you haven't had a teacher, you didn't learn. And then depending on the proficiency of your teacher, that's going to have a determination too. Books need teachers, man. You can't read by yourself. You need a teacher. You sit with us all the day. Don't you see the difference from reading with a teacher and reading by yourself? Every day we're teaching. Do you think on your own you're going to come up with all the stuff that we talk about when we're reading these books? No. That comes from sitting with teachers for a long time, understanding context, understanding what relates to what and what doesn't, understanding when to branch, when not to branch, when it's connected, when it's not connected. That takes sitting with teachers, right? And now when you sit with enough teachers over time, you're going to see connections. And then at that level, you may be able to read books on your own because you're already familiar with the content and the material. Do you follow my point? That just takes time. There's nothing you can do about it. But never think you can read on your own. No, it doesn't work. So absolutely not. You need a teacher. And anyone tell you I didn't have a teacher, I read on my own, don't even listen to them. Say nice, come on, let's go find a teacher. Nice, mashallah, I'm glad you covered it. Now right? I hope you memorize too. This stuff, listen, that's why I said we got to be normal. This is normal stuff. I'm not giving you nothing advanced. Right? All right, let me ask you something. I remember this analogy someone gave us. I don't know if it was one of my teachers or one of the students in the class with one of my teachers. I don't remember who said it, but it was a beautiful analogy to this. They said, what if you had a kid, y'all ready? Follow this. You have a child, you send to school. The child comes home with straight F's. 6 flags, that's what we say in our way. Great adventures, 6 flags. Kid got all F's. If your kid comes home with straight F's, what's the first thing you're going to ask them? Y'all ready? Your kid comes home with straight F's, flying flags. What's the first thing you're going to ask your child? Listen to those answers. Who was his teacher? What has been your teacher? What the? Oh my God, y'all crazy. See, I told you there's only black people. Okay. You're going to ask, right? And then you ask the question. The child says, I did everything. The teacher gave us a book, told us to read the book. I took the book home. I read the book. I came back, took the test, and I failed. Now what you're going to say? The student says, the teacher gave us a book, told us to go read the book. I read the book, came back, gave us a test. I failed. What you gonna say now? That's part two. The child answered. The teacher gave me a book, said, go home and read it. I came back. They gave me a test. I failed. What you going to say now? Right? Then you're going to go call the teacher. And the teacher says, the kid can read, so I gave him the book. That's sufficient. They should just read the book. That's it. What you going to say to that teacher? The kid can read. I gave him the book. They should just read the book, and that's it. Right? So what you get from this analogy is that you get the point. You need a teacher, and the teacher need to teach because you're expecting the teacher to clarify things that the student would not know on their own. Now you got the point? Y'all got the point now? Is it clear? We do that with our Islam and wonder why we all over the place. That's what we do in our deen. We go to the bookstore, we pick up any kind of book, we start reading, and then we start teaching. I can read, I don't need no shake. Right?
And start talking trash about the people to tell you you need teachers.
For everything else, you was fine. Now that's what you do in the religion. And that's why we got all flags in our team. That's what we do. It doesn't work at all. Trust me, that's all I do is read. If that was sufficient, I'd be Sheikh al-Islam. Right? I read all the time. Most of my day is reading. If that was sufficient, I would be Sheikh al-Islam. And I'm not even a sheikh, let alone Sheikh al-Islam. And I read all day long. My breaks is not reading. Most of the day, I'm reading a book. You follow me around, I got a book in my hand. When I get a break, I'm reading all the time. And I'm not even a sheikh, let alone Sheikh al-Islam. Right? So no, books don't talk. Books can't teach you. Books can't do none of that. You need a living teacher. Sorry to break one's heart. You have to sit with a teacher. And when you sit with a teacher, you will appreciate it. Imam Naeem.
How can we extend your masjids here? Extend our masjids there. I think it's more important to extend Ahlul Sunnah, well, Jama'ah, where we are. And this is what we try to do. We just mentioned that we'll be coming to DC the first weekend of August. And this is what we hope to do every time we travel someplace. We want people in the areas that we go in to organize themselves and to begin learning and teaching with each other and still be connected with us, and to choose their own leader from amongst them and build. And this is what we're coming there to do, to help.
Yes, sir.
So
Speak.
I don't know if I would word it that way, but extend our masjids. Like we have, like, back in the Nation of Islam in New York City, we have Temple 7A,
That's
you
right,
know,
black man. Talk to me.
7B,
Yes, sir.
7C, right? in New York.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
right.
know if we want Masjid Mu'min B, Masjid Mu'min C.
Make it plain, black man.
I don't know if that's what you mean. I'm assuming you mean what we teaching and stuff like that. So this is what we trying to help people where they are. We try to help them organize, right? But they're not like an extension of the masjid, of our masjids. Hope that answers your question.
Where's Samira? I don't see your questions. To be honest, we don't have the ability to extend our masjids. We're struggling maintaining our own masjid, let alone someone else's. Like, you got people say, Imam, we need you to come. I can't. I'm trying to keep alive myself. I'm trying to keep Masjid Muhammad alive. He's trying to keep Masjid Mu'min alive. Imam Faheem is trying to keep the Quba. We need you to learn and get your own environment together. We can help, but we can't. We can't do that. We can help you, but right, we only can help. But we're battling, trying to keep our own stuff alive. I think people don't realize what a black imam does. I don't say what an imam does. I said a black imam. That's a difference. It's not just normal. Black imam. It's a whole nother world. Do y'all realize that? A black imam, that's a whole nother world. It's not the same. You got imam, then you got black imam. There's a big difference. They are not synonymous terms at all. In no way. Yeah, we cannot do it. I'll give you one of my teachers. He's an imam. He's a sheikh, and he's my sheikh, and he's an imam as well. You know what he does? Let me tell you his job. Y'all ready? He's not a black imam. He's an Arab sheikh, Azhar, Damascus, Mahad al-Fath. He's a sheikh, real sheikh, traditional, regular sheikh, hadith scholar, sheikh. This is his job. He gets up in the morning. He goes to Fajr. He finds 2, 3, 4, 5 Pakistani kids to recite Quran to them. Once a week, he does a few hadith from Riyadh al-Salihin. And for those who are interested, he teaches a basic book in Hanafi fiqh. He performs a wedding every now and then. That's it, khalas. And he gets high pay. That's his job. And he leads the prayers. 5 minutes, come pray Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, khalas. That's it. Even though Ramadan, he ain't got to do that. They'll bring another Hafiz, young guy, to do that. That's all he has to do. That's his job. Okay? What does the black imam got to do? The prayers, the teaching, the bills, the fundraising, the counseling, the fighting, the, the cleaning, the everything. You know, when he gets a problem, I'm not in charge. You have to ask the board. When we get a problem, we got to deal with it. You see the difference? Not the same. Not the same at all. So if that's the black imam at one masjid, how you think he's going to do that 2, 3, 4, 5 masjids? No, it's impossible. It's impossible. Can't do it. But we can help. So what we need is everyone in their areas to learn. We help, and you do the work. Right? And then when we all working on the ground, we collectively come together and support one another. right? And that way, we'll have everything we need. But individually, we can't do it. It's not possible. It's humanly impossible. We can't do it. Unless you just want to burn out and be dead after a couple years, right? Like you, from exhaustion and stress. It's not possible. We have to do it as a collective. This is not an individual job. To be honest with you, it's not. And any black imam in the average black community will tell you the same thing. It's not different. It's the same stuff. And all you got to do is go to the masjid and stay there for like a week, and you'll see it. Don't just come on Jumu'ah and go, wow, look at all these people. Yeah, mashallah. No, stay for a whole week and stay with the imam and see what he goes through. You want to get an experience anywhere, a whole week. It only take 1 week. Just stay a whole week. Not a week when there's some special events. Regular week, hang out with him and see what you see. The black imam is a superhero. May Allah reward all of them.
Amin.
Superheroes.
And then look at the sadaqah box. And then you're going to ask yourself, how is this place even open?
Okay, is there any more questions? Samira, where are your questions? I didn't see them before.
She put it there.
Where? Where at? I didn't see no questions. My brother. What's how mean?
She typed it at 7:58.
7:58. Okay.
She just put it there again.
There you go. You want to answer that, or you were the one talking about it?
You can answer it.
The first has details, and the second has details. They both got details, right? Because today, Christian and Jew has total different meanings from what Christian and Jew meant, right? You have some stuff, right? So there's details to that. And marrying a Christian of a Jew has details to that too, according to the madhahib. So in each school, there's going to be details that are not in other schools. So all of those require details. It's not just a yes and just a no. Every particular circumstance is going to have details. And there's going to be difference according to the madhahib. So it's not a yes or no answer.
For that second question, do you know if it's considered a rukhsa in every school or just some schools?
I don't know. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's lawful. As do they term it as a rukhsa? I don't know. And that's why I said we would have to look. I'll give you an example. I just had to one of our sheikhs who is Maliki. Because in the Shafi'i school, most of these marriage to Christians and Jews are not valid. You cannot do it. According to the rules, in our time, it don't fit. You can't marry these Christians and Jews if you follow the strict opinions of the Shafi'i school. It don't work, right? You can't do it. So people come say, Imam, I'm marrying a Christian. No, not with me, you're not, right? But what I realized is you better figure something else out. This ain't going to work. In the Maliki school, the rules are much more loose. So these where you start looking for dispensations because of the conditions of the people. So I called one of our Maliki teachers. I said, listen, Sheikhuna, this is the case. He said, do this, do this, do this, do this, and it works. That doesn't work in the Shafi school. And even in the Maliki school, the way he said do it, it's not the most dominant opinion in the school. But because of the condition, and he's qualified for that, he said, follow this opinion and do it. And when I always research what the teacher tells us just so I can be sure myself to understand it well in case I'm confused. And when I asked it, he said, don't worry about all those details. Do this, and that's it. But it's in the Maliki school. So we did it according to the Maliki school, right? In the Shafi school, out of the question, not happening. But in the Maliki school, there are opinions that have more details than even the dominant opinion in the school. So you follow my point? If you get my point, I just gave you a real case, right? So these
and don't come over here with that. Go to Imam Amin. They give you the Malikis on that, right?
So when Imam Naeem talking about he can't marry, no, say, nah, we know in the Maliki school you can do it, it's available.
We Hanafi on that issue.
See, told you we ain't fully Sunni. Within one school, you have various opinions and various positions depending upon situation. That's why you need muftis, because they take things into context. Do you understand my point? Everything is not just simple. Islam is not black and white. Islam has a lot of shades of color. It's not just black and white. Oh, that is so funny. Can I tell you a joke? You ready a joke, Imam Naeem?
Yes, sir.
I got a message. Donations are low today. I don't know how much we raise. You have to get riled up and say Wahhabi a couple times.
The last report was like 200.
We are funny, man. Cannot make this stuff up.
See how they do us when Imam Faheem not here? Imam Faheem need to make a cameo so we can make our quota.
No, we need to stop entertaining ourselves and do work. We want everything, but we're not willing to work for it. There's a lot of blah, 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 blah. This stuff is serious work, right? And trust me, I don't even get frustrated about it. I'll be like, we know, all I say, when we don't get it done, put on your cape and handle it. But they say, put an S on your chest and handle it. Hey, you only can, it's the old saying, deliver the message. That's all you can do, right? Deliver the message. But don't expect for you to be treated any different than Malcolm X, Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz was treated. Don't expect anything different. If you are treated different, and you are, say Alhamdulillah. But remember, after every meeting, Malcolm X, Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz had to push people to pay for the place where they were doing. Every meeting, he had to remind us, hey, this costs money. If we're going to do this stuff, it costs money. So don't expect you're going to be treated any different. That was in the 60s. 2023 is still the same. We're the same people. So don't expect. Whatever we do, say Alhamdulillah. And still encourage and push, but don't expect from your side, because you'll quit. If you expect different and you don't get different, you're going to quit. And you can't afford to quit. We need to be educated. Even if no one gives you anything, we still need to educate the people. So listen, man. Quit crying and get to work. Boss, he ain't working. Right? Okay.
If you're new here and you're trying to figure out how to donate, it's running across the bottom of your screen.
It's
Just
right
put
there.
Roundtable in the comments.
I had a concept. It ain't working. And it's breaking my heart that it doesn't work. Right? I had this concept. And actually, I was trying to emulate some of my colleagues who are not Black. Just teach for free. They will donate, and it will, inshallah, balance out. Just teach everything for free. I've quickly come to realize that doesn't work for us. Because that doesn't work. We will take it for free and then say it's not enough. So we are forced to do some things for free, and we have to charge for other things. It's real. I don't like it. I hate it. That's why it takes me so long to do it. I don't like it. I don't like charging for Islam. I don't. I hate it. It's like turns my stomach. But if we want to continue to work, it does cost money. You have to do what you have to do. I don't like it. I hate it. I wish I could just convey without even talking about that issue. But this stuff costs money. It costs a lot to do what we're talking about, going around the country. And you know, every time we get those bills for traveling, that stuff ain't free.
That stuff adds up quick.
But I want to say this online 3453 family has done a great job. May Allah reward y'all. Now, I don't want, please, 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 do not misunderstand that. Y'all have done a tremendous job. May Allah reward y'all immensely. So I don't want you to undermine your work and your effort. You've done a great job, right? A great job. Beyond what any of us would have expected. So don't belittle your efforts. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making a way, right? With that being said, where are we at with the numbers? Let's finish this thing out real quick. Let's put on our fundraising hats and let's get it done. Where are we at with the numbers? Could you put us and let us know where the numbers is at? Let's get it done, inshallah. Let me see. 1 second.
Tahira want to do like Wimpy on remember Popeye? Was that Popeye?
Tuesday.
Yeah. I'll pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Where were we at? Let's do this fundraiser real quick.
The last number I saw was 200.
Right now, live, there are 90 people, right? If everybody now just give $5, Everyone who can. So out of 90 people, I'm guarantee you there are 50 people that have $5. Just give $5. Right now, we'll surpass our goal. If everyone gives $5, so they're going down. Let's get out of here before you ask us for some money. Pew, pew, pew. Right? They go quick. Right? We'll be finished with it.
$315.
Okay, so let's get it done quickly. So it's 3:15. All right. In 10 minutes, 5 minutes, we should be finished this. So that's 185 to reach the goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's go for it. All right, let me put on my Imam Siraj hat. For the sake of Allah, how many of you would do $50? Just $50, lillahi ta'ala. You got to be a soldier for this religion. $50. That's right.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
The kashif. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Takbir. Is there
Allahu Akbar.
another? Come on. I know it was
Albuquerque representing.
Who sacrificed in this religion. You can do it. Come on, let's go, brothers and sisters. You can tell I'm not a fundraiser, right? All right, we have 415. Come on, brothers and sisters. Who would give us? We got $100. Who would give another $100? Let's strive and race with each other for good deeds. Where's the other 100? Come on, don't let nobody outdo you.
Y'all gonna let Casher beat y'all like that?
Casher remind me of the guy who's in the community. He got the money for the community, and he act like he doing it. Not joking. Yeah, 500 for me, brother Imam.
Kashif is representing for Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hey, y'all really gonna let Albuquerque, New Mexico?
Y'all on the agenda. Y'all on the agenda.
You're really gonna let Albuquerque, New Mexico outdo y'all?
All right, come on. You got to keep us tapped. We don't got all day. We want to get this done. He said, I got 100 du'as. MashaAllah. We love your du'as, but right now we need a cheese here.
You sounded like Shaky Mad right there.
Yeah, we need a cheese here. We don't need a du'as here. We need our monies. Okay, where we at? Do we get it? Is it done? Okay, done deal. See, we've done it. Barakallahu bikum. We reach 5:30. May Allah reward you. See?
Allahu Akbar.
We've done it. Alhamdulillah. See, we can do it. It's easy. It's not hard. This is not hard at all. It's very easy. It's not a lot. Inshallah, we just have to be sincere and dedicated to what we're talking about. We're not asking for $1 million, right?
That's right. Alhamdulillah, Imam Amin Wahaj.
That's right. Brothers and sisters, I appreciate it. Imam, you shouldn't have to ask. I agree, but it's reality. And if you want to, let me tell you, when I first became the Imam, I can't tell him. Somebody said, don't tell me that. But old head captain in the Nation Islam, he told me when I first became the Imam. Did I tell you the story about the Captain Dennis?
Yeah.
He told me, he said, Oh my goodness. He said, Brother Imam, I love your speeches, black man. I listen to you and I love your speeches, brother. And I think you're going to be a great leader, black man. But I want to give you some advice, brother. With our people, black man, take your foot. He put his foot up. He said, take your foot and keep it there, brother. Don't move it, black man. Don't move it. Our people need a stern one right there all the time to move them, brother. He said, I'm just telling you, black man, that's what you need to do, brother. Yes, sir, brother. You want to be a good leader, brother? Keep it there, brother. Don't move it, black man. Keep it there all the time. Don't move it, black man. I said, yes, sir, Captain Dennis. I'm telling you from experience, black man. I was lead captain in the nation, brother. I know what it takes to move the black man, brother. Black man and black woman need one of those right there. Okay, so don't be afraid to ask.
What they say, no lies detected.
Oh my goodness. That's us. We good people. We need to be motivated, right? We need to be motivated. That's it. It is what it is. So, alhamdulillah, thank you. We did it. We motivated each other. We got the job done for this week. And next week, we will be at the same mission. Alhamdulillah. Close us out, Imam. We love y'all, really. And this is what I'm talking about. We have to be unapologetically black because we're trying to move black people. We have to be unapologetically black because we're trying to move black people. And that's not an easy job because of all the things Imam Naeem mentioned earlier. If we're going to get this job done, I'm telling you, because the others will just forget about you and let you wallow in your misery and pathology, forget about you. If we're going to motivate, we got to do it. And that's how it works. It is what it is, like it or not. Right?
I love my people.
That's right, black man. I wouldn't have it no other way.
That's what I was about to say.
As we used to say in the slammer for one prison story, it's hard, but it's fair. Had a home, should have stayed there. It's hard, but it's fair. Had a home, should have stayed there.
Alhamdulillah.
All right, man.
We love you all for the sake of Allah, and we hope to see y'all every time we have a program, a class, a lesson, whether it be online or in person. I definitely love it when we come together in person. I feel like, that concentrated energy, that laser beam. So, Allahu Akbar. May Allah increase you all in everything that is good. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك والعصر ان الانسان لفي خسر الا الذين امنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الفاتحه.
بارك الله بكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.